All right, now let's implement editing of vehicles. So later, we're going to build a page to list all the vehicles in the database. In that list, we're going to have a link in front of each vehicle. When we click that link, we're going to come to this page. However, we're going to have the ID of the vehicle in the route, like this. So let's start by registering a new route. We go to app.module. I'm going to duplicate this route and here add ID as a parameter. And of course, we're going to use the same component to handle this route. Now let's go to vehicle form component. Here in the constructor, I'm going to add a couple of parameters. One is route of type activated route. We use this to read the route parameters. And the other is router. And we're going to use this to navigate the user to a different page if they pass an invalid ID. So now let's import the namespaces here. Both these classes are defined in Angular/router. Next, in the constructor, we're going to subscribe to route.params observable. So here we get the parameters. And with that, we can set this.vehicle.id to p of id. And to convert this to a number, we can put a plus in front of that. Now, in ng-on-init, we want to get the vehicle with the given ID. So this.vehicleService. Now currently we don't have a method in this service to return a vehicle. So let's go to vehicle service. Here I'm going to add a new method, get vehicle, takes an ID, and returns this.http.get/API/vehicles. And here we append the ID. And finally map the response to a JSON object, just like before. Now back here, this.vehicleService.getVehicle. We give it the ID, which is this.vehicle.id, and then subscribe to this observable. So we get a vehicle, and we're going to use this to initialize this vehicle property. Okay. Now let's test the application up to this point. So now let's refresh this page, /vehicles/2. Okay, beautiful. We got this vehicle object from the server. However, the form is not initialized properly. We only have the contact fields. Because this form we have designed works with save vehicle resource objects. So it has a different contract. Here we're only working with the IDs. But this vehicle object we get from the server is the complete representation of a vehicle. Now we're going to fix this issue later. So for now, let's just make sure our routing works and then we'll move on to the next step. So next I'm going to add an invalid ID here and let's see what happens. All right, our application blew up. But hang on a sec. In the last lecture, we implemented a global error handler to display toast notifications. So what happened to our toast notification? Well, in this case, because I entered this address directly in the browser, Angular hasn't started yet. So here in this project, we have this module called server-side pre-rendering, and it's part of Angular Universal. So the first time the user lands on your application, the first view is rendered on the server. And then HTML markup is returned to the client. At this point, Angular starts, and the subsequent views are rendered on the client side. Now here on this page, if you scroll down, in the stack trace, you see a call to Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.SPA-Services.pre-rendering. So we have a bunch of node services on the server that try to execute this TypeScript, or more accurately JavaScript code on the server. And that's why instead of our toasty, we get this standard .NET exception page. So if the user landed on the home page, and from there navigated to the list of vehicles, and then navigated to the vehicle edit page with an invalid ID, then yes, they would get the toast notification. But here, because I entered this address in the browser, this was the first page, and that's why we got this .NET exception page. Now, to fix this issue, we need to explicitly handle the 404 error here. So when getting the vehicle, we supply an arrow function as the second argument to the subscribe method. Here we check if error that status is 404. That means an invalid vehicle. So we want to use this.router and navigate the user to a different page, like not found. Now currently we don't have this route and I don't want to waste time creating a route, creating a component. So I'm going to change this to /home. All right, now let's test it. So refresh. Okay, beautiful. We are redirected to the home page.